Okay, sure. So starting straight from the top, once the trader or the client enters Signal Forge, they have two options. The first option is to look at the signals that appear on their screen in front of them. And when they appear, for example, you see signal number 1 just straight at the top under algorithmic signals.
Yep.
The signal's name is hammer. The direction was up. The expiry was 5 minutes. And it fired 6 hours ago, right? That's the last signal that fired inside Forge. It tells you the asset, the currency pair that you need to select on your broker, and basically what direction you should take the trade. And this is if your client chooses to actually trade the Forge signals manually, right? So they'll literally get the signals here, and then they would go into their broker, whatever broker that is, and select the pair there and allocate whatever capital they want for that trade.
In this particular case, though, this was 6 hours ago, correct? So you wouldn't take this trade now.
Exactly.
So long gone.
You would not take this trade now. Exactly. You would not take this trade now because the outcome is already known. It was 6 hours ago. It was a 5-minute signal. Notice the column that says expiry.
Yeah.
So it was a 5-minute signal, and it fired 6 hours and 30 minutes ago, and just for a duration of 5 minutes. So you had to take it in that window. And had you taken it at that price or better, right? So it fired immediately when the euro British pound was at this price. If you took it, you would have won, right? And you would have won whatever payout you got. Typically, the payout per trade or per investment is 70 to 90%, roughly speaking, right? With the average being around 78 to 80%.
Now,
So
the reality is this system is not built for people to be taking manually trades, is it?
No, so the system is built for manual trading as well. Just to be completely clear, the thing is that it works as an auto trader as well. So it works as a manual trader and an auto trader. If you want to just set and forget it, which is the easiest, which is what 80% of clients opt for, then there's a bit of a setup involved. And if you just click on View Tutorial, it asks you, I want to trade Signal Forge manually, then you follow these instructions. But if you want to trade Signal Forge automatically, you literally would follow these 5 steps here.
There is a setting in here where my phone will get pinged when a new signal comes in, and then I can go and manually do that.
Correct, yes. So there's 2 settings. If you want to just set and forget it, so that the signals that you're subscribed to, or the signals that you've switched on, they automatically are copied over into your account. You can set it that way. You just have to click on your Forge button here. See this Forge button? You click on it, and a new pop-up opens. And here you would put in your binary.com API token. It's basically the key that connects your binary.com account. That's where your money is lying, where your client's money is lying, to your Forge unit. And once you put this in, it's your unique key that you get from binary.com. Once you put it in here, you click on Type, and you would select Auto. All right. Once you select Auto, you basically will select how much risk you want to take on. Do you want low risk, low return? In this case, you'll get maybe 3 to 5 signals a week. Do you want medium risk, medium return? You will get maybe around 15 signals a week and the corresponding level of return. Or do you want the entire gamut? Do you want the entire range of signals that is blasted here, that is auto-tradable, and there you would go for high risk, high return. And there you're getting around 30, 40, maybe 50 signals a week replicated into your accounts, right? And what you'll notice is, depending on your risk level, these risk settings, and there's quite a few, right? And your clients don't need to get involved with the nitty and gritty, but you can if they want to micromanage this, but they don't have to. Each signal, for example, hammer, merge, pure, purge, these are all names of the signals, right? They have their own corresponding risk settings. Now, low risk will have a certain setting for the signals. High risk will have a completely different set of settings for those signals. All this means is that when the signal is fired here inside Forge, the risk management system that overlays, that's monitoring these signals, will ultimately decide, hey, listen, you have said that you want very low risk, so I'm not going to take these last 2 signals because I believe this is too high risk for your account. But if you have opted for higher risk settings, right, for those signals, then it will take the signal immediately, right?
Yeah.
And so what you may see is if your clients, some of them have gone for low risk, and it's not natural tendency. It's human first go for the low risk or the medium risk, and then slowly move up the gradations. But let's say you started with low risk, low return. What's probably going to happen is you're going to get in any given day 20 signals fired in Forge here manually, but only 2 or 3 have actually been copied over into your binary.com account. That's because the risk settings were in place.
We're blocking them,
right?
filtering them.
It's blocking and filtering them. There's a lot of risk mitigation, right? This is all about risk mitigation, and then hopefully to generate some profit towards the end of the month, right? That's the whole point with this. So if as you scroll down, you'll see that, let's say you have a $500 binary.com account, you can actually specify here, okay, I don't want to lose more than $50 a day, no matter what happens, right? The maximum I'm willing to lose is $50.
That's per day, daily stop loss. Okay.
Exactly, and then as a double risk mitigation measure that we've built in is, let's say it's not dollar-based, it's actually the number of trades lost or won, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, here I say 2. After 2 losses, no matter which of the signals have fired, if 2 lose in that day, the system will shut me out. The system will just stop working for 24 hours.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you get strange market conditions where you get a lot of correlation, which means that there's a big news event like we had the Brexit last week or 2 weeks ago, and everything moved at once. All currencies moved down, and Signal Forge would have at that point fired maybe 5 or 6 or 7 signals at once. Now the good thing is there's a lot of filters in place that protect you against events like that anyway. That's part of our engineering, but on top of that, we're giving the client the ability to actually specify how many number of concurrent signals will be taken in their account, right? So number of open positions. If you put 1, even if 10 signals are fired, and even if the risk management system wanted to take all 10, it will only take 1 of them, right? So this is an additional layer of risk management. The final, and I'd say one of the most important layers, is what if the broker gets sneaky, right? What if the broker says, hey, this user's making a lot of money, let's reduce his or her payouts from 70-80% to just 40%. So here you have a minimum payout checker. You want to be typically getting over 70% return on investment every time you win, right? There's no point in taking signals if the broker is only going to pay you 50% ROI or 40% ROI.
Okay.
So you want to set
this.
You
can arbitrarily decide?
Yeah, you can arbitrarily. So what this means basically is, and the reason we've done this is the payouts keep changing. For example, if a signal fires on, let's say, merge, right? It's a 30-minute signal on the Australian dollar Japanese yen pair, and the payout at 4 o'clock British time or GMT may be 80%. But if it fired at 8 o'clock in the night, it may be 70%, or maybe actually 50%, owing to some circumstances in the market. And so you want to protect yourself because you don't want the auto trader to take low risk, low return, high risk trades. Right? You want to take the high return, high risk trades. So in this case, you want to set your minimum payout that you're going to get if you win to maybe 70 or 80%. Right? And once you're done with these settings, you basically click active and you hit save. And once you do that, you kind of back out, and under Forge status, instead of this red symbol, you'll see a green symbol, and that means that everything is online, it's active, and you just got to leave your machine, let it run, and it will start to take the trades, right? And it'll run all the risk management and all the parameters that you've set. Now, on this point, it's important to note that the client has the option to let it run on their computer. But if they have other applications running at the same time, if they're doing other stuff, they're working on Microsoft Word, they're surfing the net, the computer is sharing the CPU power, right? The central processing unit has various tasks that it's running, and if the memory usage is high and a signal is fired here, what could happen is sometimes that user is going to get a slightly delayed entry, right? Because the CPU can only do so many things at once, which is why we have actually put together a VPS guide, a virtual private server guide. The VPS is a dedicated virtual PC that the client can get access to for just, I think, $4 or $5 a month extra.
Yeah, it's really
so it's
cheap.
very, very low.
So
And
Josh, does
the
that mean
VPS,
your
sorry, go ahead.
computer's not actually doing anything if you're going to opt that route?
Absolutely. So step 3 under the automatic, it says access this guide on how to set up a VPS, right?
Okay.
And once you open this guide, step by step, you can do it yourself, or the Signal Forge Solutions team will do it for you. They'll help you do it. That's no problem. It takes maybe an hour to get through the guide and set up yourself. But once it's done, you don't have to do anything more. It'll cost you $5 a month. But the good thing is that this is your PC dedicated at some data center in the world.
Yeah.
But it's purely dedicated to Signal Forge, right? So there is no other applications running on it, and you can do whatever you want with your normal PC, right? You don't have to have Signal Hive running.
Also, on that front back office of Forge, it said that one of the last trades that had come through was 6 hours ago. Is there a reason for nothing in the past 6 hours? Was it because the markets were closed, or?
Exactly. So that's the key thing to note is that you won't get. Some days you'll have signals every hour. Some days you'll have 7-8 hours go by without a signal on the algorithmic side, right? On the they are generally, these robots have been designed to be low volume robots. You'll get around 30 signals a week, so 5 a day. But they're spread out, which is why it's better to just auto trade them so you don't have to sit in front of your screen, right? There are clients that sit in front of their screen and trade them, but generally speaking, these are low-volume robots, and we're always adding new ones, right? So over time, the volume will increase so that you won't have such large gaps, like 6 hours or what have you.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you'll see here with the humans, they are more frequent, the signals. Let me show you analytics. This here, what you see in front of you, is only a snapshot of the activity in the last few hours, but let's take a look at activity in the entire week, right? So if I look at I guess here we don't really sort by robots, but let's take a look at ranking. So this week so far, you'll see that the algorithmic signals, around 30 have fired, 25 to 30 signals, right? And we're on Thursday, so around 5 to 6 a day. And then on the live trader side, the human signals, there you have a dramatically higher volume. It's almost 50 signals, 45 to 50 signals, and you can also see the win rates, right? So this is something that's market dependent. It totally depends on how the market moves, and then the signals will fire.
Got it. So the VPS is a very, very smart move. You strongly recommend it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's 90% of clients subscribe to the VPS. There are some that put a bit of a fuss and say, oh well, I don't want to get involved with the nitty gritty. It's kind of a once in a lifetime setup, right? It's not something you need to monitor, and it really does align your experience and Hive, your Forge unit to the actual signals being fired in Forge, right? Your binary.com replications, there are no issues. If you don't have a VPS, there could be something wrong with your machine, and you just miss a bunch of signals. So it's highly recommended to get clients on the VPS. Having said that, if you have a client that has a second machine, right? A PC laptop, and they have a desktop, they can put Forge on one of those machines and just let it run, as long as it doesn't sleep. Because if the sleep mode kicks in on the laptop or on the desktop, then the system can't monitor it, and that's a problem. Then the signals just won't be replicated.
So even with the VPS, I can't turn my computer off. I'm going to let it run all the time.
No, sorry. So if you have a VPS, then anything I said doesn't apply. If you have a VPS, you can do whatever you want with your computer. There's no link between your computer and the VPS.
Perfect. So the VPS is linked to the Signal Forge and binary.com.
Exactly. The VPS is like your computer but in a different country. It has Forge running on it 24/7, and it's connected to your binary.com account. Whatever you do with your own PC at home, whether you put it off, whether you throw it in the dumpster, it's irrelevant. The VPS will be running. It's completely separate.
That is worth way more than $5 a month.
It is. So the original cost of the VPSs in the system was around $15 to $30 a month. But obviously, we spoke to Hitesh, and he said he didn't want the users to necessarily bite down so much on the ROI. Obviously, you guys understand the sort of the commercial side of things more for this, but the $5 thing, I agree. I think for that luxury, easily one can pay higher.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if there's just so many functions that you cannot use your computer for anymore if you're running this full time. You can't, you wouldn't even take the risk of downloading a movie.
Yes,
Because it's going to mess
exactly.
with your, yeah, it's just not worth it.
This is how it works. You set up the VPS by accessing your VPS. Think of your VPS as a completely new computer, a computer that you have bought, but you've put on an island, all right? And that computer is connected to the internet 24 hours of the day. And the only application running on that computer is SignalForge, nothing else. Okay? Now, SignalForge is running on that computer of yours, which is called a VPS in this case, on an island, and all it does is it takes signals. You originally set that VPS up by accessing it with your laptop, but after you've set it up, it's running, and you can shut your laptop off, and you can do whatever you want with your laptop. It will not affect the VPS and its connection to your binary.com account. If you can see the chart in front of you, I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but you'll see the kind of connectivity map here, right? So this is you at home. This is your PC. You use the internet to connect to your VPS. Your VPS is just another PC. It belongs to you. You pay for it every month. And that PC is running Windows, right, or Linux or whatever. And on there you open SignalForge, just like I've done here. You go through your settings, you set your trade amounts, you set your risk levels, you click active, you hit save, and your Forge is ready. And your Forge on this VPS via the internet is connected to your binary.com account 24/7, right? It does not sleep. Your PC now is no longer connected to your VPS. You can be, but it doesn't need to be. Your PC can be downloading movies, or you can be surfing the net or whatever. It has nothing to do with this VPS.
Fantastic.
But you access this VPS using your PC.
And it's especially good for some of our markets in developing countries that want to take full advantage of what you guys have developed, but don't have the most reliable internet.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. Exactly, because then you're basically piggybacking to some degree off of the internet connection that these big VPS providers have, the data centers, right? So OVH, for example, is the VPS provider that we have suggested. Forge is going to be going with, and OVH is the #3 VPS and data center company in the world, right? They're a billion-dollar company. They're like Amazon Web Services. They're like Microsoft Azure, only that they're cheaper. They're more cost competitive, but they have very big 24-hour security, high-speed, high-fidelity data centers around the world. I think they have few in Asia as well. So those will be the data centers that will be serving Asian traffic, right, with good internet speeds. And that's really, really important. So you don't need to run Forge from home. That's kind of it in a nutshell. The rest of the stuff is just peripheral. For example, you can find out more information about the signals by clicking on them. You know, how exactly does purge work? How is that different to how the furnace signal works? All the performance is detailed in the analytics section. You know, this keeps clients busy for a long time. It totally depends on the nature of clients. You will get, we can tell you this for sure, you will get around 10 to 15% of clients that will want to trade this manually. They have the time in the day, and the system is fully ready for that, right? So the system has a full kind of, it used to be purely a manual system. We then evolved it to an auto trading system, so it's ready for both. In the rare occasion, 5% or maybe even 10% of clients may want to semi-auto trade it. Now, semi-auto trading, I don't know, John, do you want me to go over that, or is that not really necessary?
No, that's absolutely great.
Okay, cool, thank you. So, yeah. So far we've discussed the manual trading, right? And we've discussed the auto trading, which is probably going to be the most popular route with binary.com. There is an intermediate solution, which actually allows the client or the trader, the moment the signal is fired, the moment, for example, this hammer, right? Let's say it just fired, there is a small icon right next to it, pretty visible copy icon. And if I click on it, a trade module will come up, right? And it looks like this, basically.
Are you saying that if your system is set to semi-automatic, there's a note there?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So exactly. So I'm going to show that just in a second. But if your system is set to semi-automatic, this replicates application module, as we call it, comes up. And it basically allows you to take that signal in real time, driven by you. You still have to click yes, take. You have to copy the signal, but it allows you to take it into your binary.com account, right? So it's semi-auto trading is more closer to manual trading because you need to be in front of the screen. When the signal fires, you click on that yellow button, and then it gets taken into your binary.com account, again using the gateway that you set up, right? The original settings, when you went to Forge, you connected your binary.com account to Signal Forge by putting in your API token, and then you basically put in all the information you wanted, right? The risk settings and stuff. But this is something you did for auto trading.
Yep.
If you select semi-auto trading, it's completely different. In semi-auto mode, you just simply put on the signals you want to show up, and you can put in your default transaction amounts.
That would be a trade amount?
That would be a trade amount, yes. These are all trade amounts in dollars.
Okay.
And it's worth noting that the trade amount max right now is $30.
Oh, interesting. And
yeah, it's $30 at the
with
moment.
Your auto, that's
Sorry?
$30 per trade.
Yes, that's right. And that's basically for risk management purposes. It's the best for the client because there's a lot of volume inside Forge, and that's the best thing for risk management purposes.
I know some friends. Sorry.
I was just going to say that you're going to get clients who are going to request those limits to be waived. You're going to get accounts sometimes asking for obscene amounts of trade sizes. We've received a few for people asking, who have $100,000 accounts and they want to trade $2,000-$3,000 trade sizes.
Yes, and I've got some friends in foreign exchange and or in currency FX trading. They'll do those types of things and have $20,000-$30,000 weekends, and that's not how this is designed again.
Yeah, exactly. So, if there are clients, there are two ways you can approach this. It's totally up to you, John and team. But so the thing is, the good thing about binary.com is they're a big binary options house, right? So for their risk parameters, they can take trade sizes easily into $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a trade. They have a lot of volume going through the system. However, we are risk averse. We're all about risk mitigation and stable account growth, and those are not trade sizes that we would recommend ever. This is about the long road, and this is not something we recommend. So clients will come because they will see a great week inside the Forge. They will get excited, and they will say, hey, I want to put $500, $1,000 trade sizes. That's all fine, but then if you have a bad few days, that can result in unnecessary, commercial fallout on forums and all of that stuff. So we've purposely kept the limit at $30, and over time, and John, you can take a call on this, over time, those limits can be raised slowly to 50 to 100 as the system becomes smarter, more stable, and more volume comes in. Okay. And that's the sort of approach we would suggest. Now, what we do in very rare instances, if we have a questionnaire of up to 10 questions, we actually have a liability waiver system that we have developed, but it's not active here in Forge at the moment, but we can make it active. The client actually physically needs to sign a 10-page liability waiver if they actually want to raise their limit. So if they come in and say, look, I'm done with these petty amounts, I want to put in $50,000, and I want to trade 2% risk, right? So around, what would it be? What's 2% of? Yeah, exactly. Sort of a few hundred, few thousand. Then they need to fill out this questionnaire, and that questionnaire asks them some important regulatory questions. For example, what is their net asset value? What is their monthly income? Do they have any debt? Have they had any previous run-ins with the law? These are really important questions so that you as a system are completely hedged, so that Forge is hedged, and it shows that we have done our due diligence on these clients, right? So that I'm just putting that out there because, just to be completely clear, this system will have some great weeks, and at that point clients will start to push and say, listen, I'm not happy with just trading $30 trade size. I want $300 trade sizes. Yeah, so I think it's just worth kind of knowing that this is kind of where it heads normally.
Sure. And like you said, this is very early days, and so as this kind of sorts itself out and more signals start coming through, then these limits, like you said, can be raised. So we can just learn at a pace that's appropriate for us in the beginning, and then just grow into it.
Exactly.
Now, there's a basic instruction manual that Hitesh put together, so everyone listening to this should know the basics, like where to go and get your API token. so we don't need to worry about that kind of stuff right now. We already have the answers, or we know where to find the answers. It sounds basically to me, if you do me a favor, just walk through as though we were setting this up again with the risk parameters, the minimum bets, etc. Let's say we're starting right from zero in the Signal Forge back office. We just logged in. What would you recommend for rookies just getting rolling?
So the first thing, absolutely, is to click on View Tutorial.
Okay.
Right? It takes literally 5 minutes, and they should then decide, do I want to trade manually, semi-auto, or auto? And 80% of the time, or even more, people are going to click auto.
Yeah.
Just follow the 5 steps. You cannot go wrong. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Right? Because the first step tells you connect your binary.com virtual or real money account to your Forge by copying your unique API token. That's the alphanumeric key that I was talking about. That's in your binary.com settings area. And just go ahead and paste it in there. Then go through each signal stream slowly. Select your default transaction amount. That means how much money you want to put per trade for that particular signal stream. And then you just decide which risk setting you want, right?
Yep.
Then step 3 is to actually connect your Forge via VPS to your binary.com account. We can help with this. Support at signalforge.com, 24-hour response time, or just access this guide so you can do it quicker. Or you can just click on this chat that you see to your bottom right, which will be filled up with a range of rooms and tech support rooms as well. And we have a dedicated tech support person that'll be online for about 8 hours a day during particular hours, and they can help you set that up as well. So there's a lot of support that gets you set up, and then you're done, right? You're basically done. You're ready to run Forge.
Excellent. And then you click the
specifically.
Yeah.
Exactly. Then you click the Forge button. I mean, the Forge, exactly. So once you've done the view tutorial, you follow the steps in the tutorial, right? So you put in the token, select auto, go through exactly what I just said, select the streams you want, put in the trade amounts. It says 25 here. I was actually wrong about the limit. It's not 30, it's 25.
Got it. Okay.
But this is something you just need to confirm with Hitesh, John. This can be raised to 40, to 50, whatever it is that you want.
Okay. Now, are there any places where I'm required to put the same information in twice, and I need to make sure that I put the same information in the 2 locations? Or does that not exist anywhere?
Let me just think about that. Analytics transactions. No, so there is no place that you need to put in the same information. One thing I will say is that and this is a bit of an annoying feature with binary.com, Forge accesses the binary.com platform to execute the trades. So we use an API, an application protocol interface. It's basically a set of protocols, and we access them on their back end. And the thing is that this daily stop loss amount, right?
Yeah.
And the daily stop loss positions, once you set it, it can only go less. You know, I want to be clear about that. So for regulatory reasons, don't ask me why, but this is the way binary.com works, is if let's say I have $1,000 in my account, and I don't want to lose more than $200. Once I hit save, that information is transmitted to binary.com, and they store it. Now, if I come back and I say, you know what, I have higher risk tolerance now, I don't mind losing $400 per day. That won't work. I'll get a message here saying that you've already set your limit to 200. You can only go lower, so you can only go to 100. You can only go. It only works that way. I need to physically write to binary.com, support@binary.com, to ask them to raise my limit so that I can play around with these settings again.
Interesting.
It's an idiosyncrasy. It's an idiosyncrasy, and a few users get stuck in this web, right? They tinker with these on a daily basis, right? Micromanagement is a big problem. People get excited. They like to tinker with every single setting.
Yeah.
It's not a big problem overall, but we're saying that it will afflict a few percentage of users, and that takes up support time. So they will get in touch with support and say, well, why can't I change the daily stop? It mainly is because no one reads this red message, right? If you read the red message, users with real money account on binary.com shall use daily stop loss amount and number of open positions fields to set limits on trading activities. Once set, you can only tighten your limits, so use this cautiously, right? You can only tighten them. You can't loosen them unless you write to binary.com. Again, it's not a a deal breaker by any sense, but it's just worth noting that this is a bit of an idiosyncrasy in the system.
So just to become familiar with this, if I was, let's say I was going to play with, let's say, $1,000 and follow that 2% guideline,
Yes.
in that setting, in that section down below, for that top field, I assume that I would want a daily stop loss amount of no more than around $50.
Yes. So let's say you have a $1,000 account.
2% of 1,000.
And sorry, no, sorry. So this is not a percentage amount. This is actually a dollar amount, right?
Yeah,
so let's say you have 1,000.
If I want, let's say 2% of 1,000, for example, I would put $50 in there. Would I be making a mistake, for example, if I had $1,000 to play with, and I put a daily stop amount $100, because that's representing potentially 10% of my account?
Yeah, if you're very strictly worried about that, right, and you don't want to lose more than $50 a day, then you would put in 50.
Got it.
The problem with this is if your account grows, let's say you had a great month and it grows from 1,000 to 3,000.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This, if you then try to move it to 150, it won't work.
So what's the proper way to do things, though? To set it for the amount I can afford in the beginning and then have to write those guys?
No, so that's what it seems will be the easiest way, but actually the easiest way is slightly a bit more complex. What you would basically do is you would set this to, let's you have $1,000 in your account in month 1.
Yeah.
You set this to 200, and then you set your daily stop loss positions to just 3. Now, if your individual trade sizes,
controlling your risk instead of you're controlling your risk with your daily stop loss amount.
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly.
That's okay.
Correct, yes.
That's why you're saying set it a little on the high side and control your risk in other ways.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is, your trade sizes here, let's say your trade sizes are 10, 15, 10, or something, in that range, let's say, on a $1,000 account, right? Or let's say 20, whatever.
Yeah.
If you let, as John said, if you let the daily stop loss position count control your risk management, you're absolutely fine. Because, let's say you have 3 losses in a row, you've lost $40.
Yeah.
You're fine. It's this thing here that will get people excited, right? And people hate to lose money, so most people may just put it, well, I don't want to lose more than $30, right? Yeah. Then they hit save, and then that's what binary.com registers as the cap.
They're stuck.
And if you ever try it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, what would you recommend for the number of positions open?
Okay, the number of positions open, I would say no more than 2, right? So the good thing about the system, John, is that in general you rarely will get more than 3 or 4 signals fired at the same time. It's a very rare event, right? So in any ways you won't
limiting yourself, though. Let's say the system is finding 3 or 4 really good trades, and if there are not that many trades to begin with, do you really want to limit your opportunity to take them by putting a 2 in there?
I think the view is it depends on your investment horizon. So if people are here to get rich quick, I agree with you. So if they're saying, look, I need to pay next month's electricity bill, let me deposit it in Forge and let me make a few $100, then I agree. Then it's open season, right? You would put number of open positions 20 or something. Yeah. But if you're in it for the long view, these robot signals are coming back every day, right? They're going nowhere. Every night, some of these robot signals fire at the same time because the market behaves in a certain way every day. That's the crazy thing about the markets, right? Got it. So if you take the long view, you say, look, I'm going to be here anyway for the next 1 or 2 months. There's no point in kind of getting excited by just getting an additional signal. That's just my view, but it totally depends on the nature of the client, right? So what we have seen in Forge so far also is that you have clients in Asia who are they have a higher risk appetite. They are more on the gambling side of things. Malaysia, Indonesia, these regions are big depositor bases for binary.com, as you know. Also on the FX side, they love their risk. As you migrate over to Europe and kind of these regions here, you are seeing much lower risk appetite, right? We see that in the numbers. That's the most amazing thing because we tag the users geographically, so we can actually see who has higher risk and lower risk appetite. Yep. The good news is this idiocy inside the system won't last long though, right? So our team is working on bypassing the binary.com problem with this daily stop loss amount so that it works on our level, not on their level. So the user can tinker with this on a daily basis.
That's cool.
And it won't cause a problem. Yeah, so it's a temporary thing, by the way. It's by no means is it long lasting.
Now, would that be a ratio that the members could follow? Let's say if there was someone who, had $500 to play with, that 5-to-1 ratio, would you say daily stop loss, they could set that $100? And if they had 10 grand to play with, you could say they could set that at $2,000. Is that about?
Absolutely. You can't do that. You can't do that. The one thing I would say, John, and I hate to go all, SEC on this, it's just that make sure you don't write it anywhere. And that's the most important thing. Make sure that you show it as an example and say, look, this is an example setup of a ratio. But the moment you start to say that, hey, for example, set it 5-to-1, or you should consider setting it at 10-to-1, that falls under investment advice, and that gets that's a slippery slope. So it's very important to let the user do it, right? And that's just so that, right.
I understand. Now, the fourth section, minimum payout percentage.
So the minimum payout percentage, this is important because Binary.com and other brokers like Nadex and other ones that are coming, they have varying degrees of payout.
Where you said 70% to 80% is what we should accept, no less than.
Exactly. So you want to be extra sure that you're not getting caught out, right? For example, in the night, Binary.com drops payouts across the board by 10%. They're slashed, right? Because it's just easier to make money in the night. That's a known fact in binary options. So they drop payouts a bit. And so that means that, for example, a signal which is normally giving you 75% payout, let's say you're wagering $100 on a trade and you're wanting to make a nice $75 increment or a win on that, suddenly they'll give you 62%, right? Now, okay, that's fine. You win, you get $62. That's not bad, but in trading and investing, you should always go for the highest risk-reward trades, right? For example, if I told you that you have a 80% probability of winning $10, but a 20% probability of losing 100, right? The expected value on that trade is negative. You may win it, you may make it $10 and, go out for a nice McDonald's, but you're not going to, over time, you're going to lose money on such a risk reward. What you want actually is for me to tell you, hey, there's a 60% probability of you making $100 after you invest 100, so that's 100% ROI, and there's a 40% probability of you losing $100. In this case, the expected value is positive in this permutation, and you come out ahead longer run, right? So anyway, getting away from the probability theory, let's, to keep it very simple, the minimum payout basically is protecting the client from making sure that they're only getting the highest quality trades that are offered by Binary.com, right? So ideally, you want 70-80%. Now we're working on a signal, working on a really cool signal, probably a month away. We're starting testing it next week, which is the first signal in the market that actually trades in the direction of the trend. All signals today in the world are against the trend. So the price drops a lot. People say, oh, well, it's dropped so much. Surely it'll reverse. Let me go long, or let me take a call. Let me bet that it's going to rise up a bit. And that's how most signals work. We have actually found a way to find a signal which sees, okay, the price is moving up, but it's going to move up more. Now, the reason I'm saying this is important is Binary.com and most brokers will give you 70 to 80% return on investment for getting the former right. So if you say, oh, the price has dropped a lot, I think it's going to rise a little bit, I'm going to take a call. That's a traditional trade, right? And you get 70, 80% return on that. But if you actually say, hey, the price has dropped a lot, but I think it's going to go down even more, that's a low probability trade you're making there. But Binary.com will pay you 110% return on that trade.
Really?
Right. Yeah, they'll pay you 100 to 110%, which is ridiculous because you only have to be right 50% of the time or even less.
And there are some of those signals that come through?
Not at the moment, but we have now finally, 2 days ago, we found the way. We got the tech, we did the back tests over the last 3 years, and we found a signal that's around 70% accurate, 70, 75%. It's a short-term signal, but it has the ability to predict the future for the next 5 minutes. It's a very short-term signal. It's difficult to manually trade, but because we offer the auto trading that's interesting because it will allow clients to participate in those crazy payouts
That's
at
awesome.
binary.com.
And
Exactly.
listen, Josh, by the way, you just so you know, about 3 minutes ago, you used the word nice and McDonald's in the same sentence.
Thanks. Yeah,
So listen, just and I apologize if I'm sounding repetitive.
sure.
We've got the number of open positions. We wanted to keep that low. We said around 2. The daily stop loss. Please refresh my memory.
Right. So the daily stop loss basically is just it's the bit that counts the number of positions, and it looks at them if they won or they lost. Right. It doesn't look at the amount you lost. It just says, okay, there are 10 trades taken today. How many did you win? How many did you lose? So let's say you kick off Forge in the morning. A signal is given. It's copied over into account. It wins. You made money. Good.
Yeah.
Let's say you take another one. It also wins. You're 2-0. Right?
Yeah.
Let's say you take another one, but that one loses. So you're 2-1. Now, if you had put here 1 in the daily stop loss positions, exactly, you're done. You're stopped out, and the system will say you're done for today. That's how that works.
Got it. So that's your loss count for the day.
That's your absolute loss count for the day in terms of signals, not in terms of dollars lost or won.
Yes. Now, if someone was going to, let's say, go set the system to automatic, was going to use Hawkeye, and was going to set that to high risk, so you're going to take more trades, obviously you're blocking the ability of the system to run if you put a daily stop loss at 2 or 3 because you're going to be taking more trades.
Correct. Yeah, that's a good point. So if there's someone, that's almost, it's contradictory to what they're saying. So if they're going in and they're saying, look, I don't want Hawkeye, I want to replicate everything, but then they're putting in a daily stop loss of 2, you're right. It's almost it's a non sequitur. Like it's totally conflicting there. But sometimes people will do that for whatever reason.
Can you give us just a basic range? So for example, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to set my risk to high. So should my daily stop loss, let's say, for example, I'm going to control my risk with my wager amount, the $20, $15, and $10. So that's how I'm going to manage my risk. So I would want to have a daily stop loss. Would a 10 for daily stop loss positions be reasonable, or would I want to be even higher?
I think 10 is a bit aggressive. I would say you're okay with 6, anywhere from 5 to 6.
Okay, 5 to 6. If I was on the end, on the low risk, 2 to 3.
Then I would go for 2 to 3 exactly.
Okay. And then I can find that if I'm still happy with my profitability, I could consider raising the 5 to 6 on a higher risk setup.
Yeah, absolutely. So the well, then you come back to the same problem that we discussed with binary.com. If you try and raise it again, you have to write to them. Yeah. For now.
Now, it sounds you're making it sound kind of ominous. Is it quite a daunting process and a slow process?
Let's just put it this way: they're a very good firm. They're ethical. They pay out, which is really good. They're regulated, but their customer service is a bit slow. So with requests like this, which are not urgent, unfortunately, it can take anywhere from 3 to 7 business days for it to happen.
That's not a big deal. That's okay. I wanted to give Malcolm a chance to say hi. Hey, Malcolm, can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you fine, John.
Hey, buddy, did you want to just say hi to all the leaders in the room and say hi to Josh for a minute?
Yeah, sure. I'm in the Philippines now. I was in Thailand for 13 years. Hello, Josh. A very good presentation, really.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for the kind feedback. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would recommend. I came and set up our own trading platforms ourselves years back, and for Asians, we for the sort of information we were getting here 15, 16 years ago, we were paying $25,000 a month or more for signals, right? And they were great. Yeah. But it's an unregulated industry in the sense of, it's a zero-out policy. You're trading against houses, and that's one of the nicest things with binary.com, because you're not taking a position against you. So that's the very first thing to understand. And I would really recommend that for the people listening on the on the call here, a conservative approach, and that, before you do any recommending to anyone else.
Well, and more than that, Malcolm, the other thing, of course, is, the way you're going to make the really big dollars is by building the INFINii rewards plan and really leveraging yourself. It's the reward plan dollars that they're going to be able to use to feed their account, so they're not throwing cash on credit cards, or they're not taking money from savings. That's going to be the best way for you to get the best of both worlds, for all of you to be driving your business forward, moving through the ranks, and also taking a lot of pressure off the results of the product, because they have revenue coming in from the rewards plan regardless. It's going to be the smartest way for you to build. It's certainly the way that I would be approaching things.
Yeah, absolutely, John. There's some very wealthy people in my lifetime, and they all profess the 5 M's. And if you get these 5 M's down and teach your team this, they'll want to build a team first and take that money to build your business. And the 5 M's are: make your money make even more money. So you need to find a core activity to make money with first. What better core activity than to make money with our INFINii rewards plan? And I've been in the industry a long time. I've written pay plans. There isn't a better one.
Thanks. Listen, thanks so much for taking the time, Malcolm. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Josh. We really appreciate this, and I look forward to our next presentation. We'll make sure that we get this out to all of you. Thanks again, Josh. We really appreciate it.